Hello everyone, and welcome to the Week 10 edition of the Wilkes Journal-Patriot's High School Football Rundown presented by Cooks and produced by RiverStreet Productions. I'm sports editor Zach Colburn, and assistant sports editor Brandon Moree will be joining us in just a second to take a closer look at this week's games. Well, it was a great week for Wilkes County teams as all four of them picked up wins for the fourth straight week. Brandon's got more of those games over at the big board.
That's right, Zach. Another 4-0 week for Wilkes County schools. They've run through the conference schedule. Now the only games left are inter-county games to decide the conference championship. This week's game of the week is the East Wilkes Cardinals 34-0 shutout win against Starmount. It's the first time the Cardinals have ever shut out Starmount. It's also the first time East Wilkes has knocked off Starmount in consecutive years. But the Cardinals move to 5-0 in the conference, setting up a big-time showdown with Wilkes Central next week in Moravian Falls. Both teams are undefeated in the conference, so the winner of that game will have a huge step up going into the final week of the season. We've seen a couple of touchdowns already. We're about to see Javian Ross's 11-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. That put the Cardinals up 34-0. We also saw Jared Wood and Damian Reed receive touchdown passes earlier from Bryce Vestal, who scored that third touchdown that we saw. Vestal had another strong game. He went 5 for 11 for 98 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, which we saw. He also had 17 carries for 126 rushing yards and a pair of touchdowns. Devin Couch was back from injury this week. He had 11 carries for 71 yards. We saw Javian Ross's touchdown and Jared Wood as well. He had 2 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown. All right, moving on. Wilkes Central squared off with Elkin in Elkin on Friday night, and it was close in the second quarter, but Wilkes Central pulled away late, ended up with a 62-27 win. We just saw Parsons score there early. Jalen Mays scored for the Elks in the second quarter to bring the score to 14-7, but Wilkes Central started to pull away before halftime. Horton with a 1-yard touchdown run there to go up 30-7. In the second half, this is Parsons on a 14-yard run to go up 36-20. It was 30-20 at halftime. Wilkes Central played much better defense in the second half and pulled away, and that was Jack Prevet's first made field goal of the season. So congratulations, Jack. All right, Justin Parsons had another big game. He had 166 yards and 4 touchdowns on 17 carries. He's way up over 1,600 yards for the season and 24 touchdowns. Camden Wyatt went 8 for 13 for 146 yards and a touchdown. He also had 1 10-yard carry. JoJo Horton had 7 carries for 52 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 catches for 52 yards. And Tyler Bowles making his return from injury after a couple of weeks away. He had 5 carries for 35 yards and a touchdown and a 61-yard touchdown catch. All right, in Millers Creek, it was homecoming, and the Blackhawks picked up a dominating 37-13 win against the Allegheny Trojans. Alex Ortiz playing quarterback in for the injured Trenton Walsh. He had a strong game. He had 3 touchdowns, including that 22-yard run right there in the second quarter. We saw Noah Dancy's 1-yard touchdown run in the first quarter a little bit earlier. There's Noah Triplett. He's going to bang home that 29-yard field goal right before the halftime whistle to give the Blackhawks a 24-0 lead going into the second half. It looked like Ortiz was going to get his 4th touchdown of the game right there, but the referee called him out of bounds on the 1-yard line. Tyler Skeen knocked it in on the next play. That was the final touchdown of the night for the Blackhawks. Ortiz had 129 rushing yards on just 7 carries. He also completed both of his pass attempts to Jared Surbeck for 61 yards. Noah Dancy's been the workhorse for the Blackhawks for the last couple of weeks. He had 28 carries and 143 yards and a touchdown. And like I said, Tyler Skeen had a touchdown there the last one of the game. He had 64 yards on 10 carries. All right, we don't have any highlights from the North Wilkes game. We're sorry about that. We do have the stats. We'd love to go through those with you. They were up in West Jefferson to take on Ashe County. They picked up a 48-12 win behind another big game from Jarrett Grimes. He crossed the 2,000-yard threshold while he was up there with a career-high 337 yards on 41 carries. He also scored 4 touchdowns. Ethan Brown had 8 carries for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was 0 for 1 passing. Hard to pass up there on Friday night, a lot of wind. Colin Ellis struggled to pass the ball as well for Ashe County. He did end up going 9 for 21 for 125 yards. He also picked up 128 yards on the ground, throwing for a touchdown and running for a touchdown. Later in the game, Haven Weinberger finished off 29 yards on 3 carries with a touchdown, and both Daniel Pruitt and Kobe Brown had interceptions on the night. All right, I think we've covered all the ground that we need to cover there. Zach, back to you.
Thanks, Brandon. As you had mentioned earlier, Wilkes Central and East Wilkes will be taking on each other this coming Friday in Moravian Falls, with the winner having the fast track to the Mountain Valley Athletic Conference Championships. But over in Millers Creek, West Wilkes will host North Wilkes in another key showdown, with the winner having a chance at a share of the conference championship. But before we go, we want to send you off with this week's Play of the Week, presented by RiverStreet Productions. Brandon, let's see it.
All right, we saw it a little bit earlier, but we're going to take another look at it. We're happy to see the Cardinals, like we said. Good throw here from Bryce Vestal. He's going to hit Damian Reed streaking down the sideline there. 45-yard touchdown pass. That was Reed's only catch of the night, and he certainly made it count for his second touchdown of the season. All right, Zach, send us home.
Okay, this has been the Week 10 edition of the Wilkes Journal-Patriots High School Football Rundown presented by Cooks. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WJP_sports, and we'll see you on Friday.